Hello and welcome to the Datron Digital Experience live event. My name is Mark, to my right side Marius, and we all welcome you for today's Datron Next event. So we're looking at our machine control, the Datron Next control, and what is so special about it, why it is so different, what are the unique features that this machine and this software in particular offers compared to conventional machine controls that you might know. So I think we give a good overview today of like the basic functions and some software options. You might have noticed there is a chat box in this view, and if you have any questions, feel free to ask. Just let us know, and after this live session, both of us will also be in this chat room. So if you have any questions, let us know now, let us know later. We try to answer them during the live session, otherwise we can chat in the box afterwards. Marius, we have a promotion screen here with the software. Can you tell us a little bit what is what's the main view of the software, and where do I get to each feature, to each cycle?
Yes. At first I want to start by taking a look on the screen here. This is the start screen, the home screen. And at first I want to show you which parts we have here. So on the top we have here just the main points that you can use, that you have to use for the normal program, for the normal working on the machine. So that means program management, tool management, and also the workpiece setup. Here in the middle we have the machine, so the informations of the machine, X positions, also the status of the machine. Also here on the bottom we have just the programming part, so the editor, and also the manual operation that you can use for just a single hole or doing some easy things. On the bottom here we have just the technology buttons, so I would say here is the parking position, unlock door, and also to set up the vacuum. But first we want to take a look on these parts. So this is the main points that you have to use before you starting your machine. So at first we take a look on the program management. So that means that you have to load a program before you start the working on the machine. So that means if you have to tap here on your program, and then you can see also some buttons on the right side, load program, so there you can also load it. Then we have edit and delete, so if you have to do something with the program, change something or delete it, if it's wrong. The next step you can do is also here, so that means that you check your tools, and you can do this by tapping this button. Then you can see which tools do you have programmed, and which tools are inside in the machine, and which one you have to do inside the machine. So we see here we have just one in the machine, so this is this one, and we have just here one that is not in the machine. So this is a promo screen. We do this later with Mark also on our machine. So what we want to take a look at second is the tool management. You don't have to use, or you must use the tool check by the program. You also can check your tools by the tool management button. So here you can see all the tools that is there inside of the machine. But also you have here the Datron tool catalog that you can find every tool, and also can take a look. So if we tap here just by also a single flute, and then we can see here a lot of informations about the tools, and also we can say set up these tools inside of the machine or the tool management. And next we want to see the workpiece setup, and for this I would say I give back to you, Mark.
Right, so once we've loaded the program, like everything is either in our network folder or like directly on the machine's hard drive, you just clamp your part. In this case I just have a 3mm aluminum plate. I put that on my vacuum bed, switch the pump on the vacuum pump, so work holding is just by by vacuum. And in this next step, that's what the software makes it so special. It's measuring the origin, the orientation in that entire machine with a camera, with a live view, just by like swiping over the display and then just drawing a shape around the part, whatever it is. So let me show you this. You go to Workpiece setup up here, and now I got a live view because there is a camera right on the Z-axis. So if I just drag over here, the machine moves, and let me get a little bit out of the way, I keep just dragging around and you see the machine just follows where my finger goes. So what I do now is I place my part visually in the center of my machine, and all I do now in the next step is drawing around like a rectangle shape. It doesn't have to be super perfect. And you can see it already brings in some measuring points. And after hitting probe, the 3D probe will come and touch off this part, so it is perfectly located not only in X, Y, and Z direction, but also in rotation. So it's also getting the right angle if it's like a little bit like shifted and rotated around some axis, which is a big thing when it comes to like a two-side operation, and you want the first side to match with the second or a second with the first. So that is an extremely important function to have, and you don't have to deal with like hard stops, with like mechanical stops, and using dial gauges to bring the part like perfectly aligned to the machine system. So that's it. All I did now is working like swiping over a little bit on the over the display, and my 0 point is all set. Again, I go to my program management, just what Marius said before. I load the file. I got my preview here, and I'm just saying one execution there and hitting the play button. So now the machine goes to the back, grabs a new tool, like the first tool which is programmed in this program, and starts to work on this aluminum plate. So there's nothing special on this part like to see now. It runs for like a minute or so. So pretty straightforward. We're cutting something out on the vacuum table. We're going 3/10 deeper than the actual stock size. And then just taking the part, very clean edges, right out of the machine. Marius, we also have a voting for our all the guys that have that are logged in now. So what is it about?
Yeah, so the main point of Next means that we have to work with a CAM system, so it works very easy if you use a CAM system. So for us it's very interested, what do you use for your programming? So that means do you use a CAM system or do you program on the machine? So that is the point that we are interested in.
Yeah, so we start that poll now, and yeah, it would be nice if you give us an answer. Thank you for this, because it's like mostly it will be CAM. I mean that's what the experience tells us, but there is still a little small portion of shops that still use the shop programming on the machine. But yeah, it's also important for us to see in which direction the market is going. All right, program is finished. Turning the vacuum pump off, and this is how it looks now. I mean, if you have ever watched any other videos of us, nothing really special about it. So it's more or less about like how to get the first part just done. So simple programming, just like 3-4 steps that you have to go through, loading the program, checking if all tools are available, and then you're good to go. Right, what's next? Software options. So I did this part once now. I made it once. What are our options if we want to make multiple parts of these?
Yeah. So the main thing is when you use multiple parts or you do multiple parts, you have to set up the same like you do just by one part. So that means you have to check your program, you have to check your tools, and also you have to set up your workpiece. What we got to do now before we start the program is here on the play button on the left side, we see this small button here, and we see here the function multiple execution. So if we start this, come on. So we see here this these points that we have to take a look on it. So that means that we can have to do all operations with the same tool firstly by all of our parts. So we save out the tool changing, and so that means that we have to save working time here on this point. It is very easy. We have to set up by a layout, so that means we have an offset in X just by 120, and I will do here in this case just 3 parts more. You also can do this by setting 0 points, but in this case we just do this with a layout. All we have to do now is to save here, and we see here on the simulation here and this that we have just now 3 parts here. And it's very easy. You have to only to do is to set up the multiple execution.
Right, and speaking about the multiple execution is if you have like a big sheet, which camera this is, yeah. If we have a big sheet that you want to get like most part out of it, and so let's say you cut 100 of small parts out of a big sheet, this is 1 meter by 700, so you can do a lot of parts at a time. You want to make sure that tool wear and tool breakage is like observed, that you have, or this machine has an eye on this. And that's why we have the so-called sister tool sister tool option this way. So it will check if there is a certain limit of a path where the tool has gone, or a time has expired, or if there is a tool breakage detected just by the tool probe in the back of the machine. So in fact, this means you can set up the same or like similar tools, same tool type multiple times in your tool magazine, and just keep the machine running, and whenever it detects some like offsets in the length, or like I said, the different times, it will automatically change and just continuing the program. And yeah, you don't have to worry about like changing the tool manually and interrupting the program. Yeah. I have prepared a little demo that I just run in the air now, which will show us if we just keep like we just cut a virtual rectangle now, and we can see down on the screen how the limit, the maximum path that I've set to 1 meter now is like going down, and it's going from green to red. So at the end, the tool is not good anymore. So let's just execute this part. Remaining time is already expired here. It was the wrong tool. Let me just reset the time again. There we go. I got a maximum of 1 meter, just as I said. And now down here on the status screen, you can see the remaining distance. Let me get on this side here. So on our screen down there, turn the knobs a bit down. It's now getting from green to like red, which tells us like the maximum time is expiring. So for the next part, it would grab a new tool. So yeah, that's a great function in combination with the multiple execution. So if you, yeah, there we go. If you utilize the machine with like multiple parts at a time in combination with sister tool management, that gives you like a very stable process, I would say. All right, what else is important to know when it comes to working on the vacuum? What software options would you recommend, especially for vacuum, not only?
Yeah, just not only for a vacuum, but it is a very easy but a very special software function. So that means that we have to save our tool, to save our clamping system. So that we can find here on the workpiece geometry, we see here protecting areas. So that means the protecting areas are to protect your clamping system, and especially the vacuum. So it is there very easy, because we have to set up just an set measurement point and have to set up here the completely machine room for this. And also, but you can do this by using normal clamping system, and also the 4-axis or axis 4. It is also you can use there.
Right. Now, if it comes to parts that are not perfectly flat, just like this one, that you can see it there. I've bended this part like a little bit. It's also another like flat piece of aluminum. I just bended this like it's like an S wave or S-shaped part now. What do you do if you want to have like a constant engraving or just like a constant machining on this? We're going to use the probe for a surface profile. So the surface profile is just, it's like measuring, it's like doing a lot of probing points over the surface of the part and then compensating the z-axis. Very good for when it comes to like housings where you have like a little bit of like deflections or from the process before that are just not perfectly even. And that's where you can use the 3D probe to compensate this. And I'm bringing this part now here in my centric vise. And what I'm going to do first is I'm probing the origin again, and after the origin we're doing that measuring field. All right. So again, I'm just dragging over, you see this? Yeah. Over this part, we can clearly see our vise here and the part. First again, I'm drawing this L shape, and that's another important thing to know. Like on the part before, I've probed a rectangle, like the center of a rectangle. But in this case, we just probe a corner, and there are different cycles possible. So it could be either a round shape like a bore or like a big pin something, rectangle, corner, edges. So there are multiple options possible. All right, we probe this first, and in the next step, I'm gonna draw a rectangle that gives me multiple probing points over this surface. So I'm going down here to surface profile, still here in my live view, zooming in. So it's extremely easy to use, and you see this is very easy to learn also. And if I then just draw this rectangle, you can see there are multiple points. I'm reducing the rows in Y and doing a few more in the X direction, making sure that I'm not beside my part, and then once again I'm just pressing play, and the machine starts probing this part over multiple in a grid of like 5-10 millimeters, whatever it is. New on the actual software which just came out is that if you want to build in the measuring cycle that you have done with like your finger, you can also just like copy this information and bring it into the code. So if you set the job up and you just want to like start it on the other day, you don't have to do this setup again. You can directly copy the code to the programming, to the actual cutting program, and it will be executed as well. Now here comes the last probing point, and I'm loading another file. This is just a simple engraving that we're going to do now, and it's going to start doing like a Datron Neo font kind of thing that we engrave now. And once it's done, I'm going to show you how this came out and how this looks if it's like engraved very even. All right, our question to our audience was about CAM or like shop programming. Do we have any results?
Okay. Yeah, also there we see the points 100% using CAM systems. Nobody is programming on the machine. So
it's
if
quite,
you
it's
do
quite interesting.
Yeah, I think if you do normal things on the machine, so if you have to do working by perfectly processing, then you have to use a CAM system. So and also the combination of the CAM system and the next software is just easy, very easy.
Yeah, it just gives you way more possibilities in terms of strategies or like how you cut a part, how you make a part. But still, that doesn't mean that programming right on the machine is something that you should just keep totally out of mind, because sometimes you need to modify things, and automation is a big thing. So then it comes when you want to communicate with like external programs. That's where working on the machine gets important with special commands. Right. There's one interesting thing to know about like all the options that we've just been talking about, and that's that there are trial licenses for it. So you don't have to like directly buy any of these options. You can get a trial license for I think 4 weeks, so around a month, and then still decide if you want to like keep the option or not. So that's just something which is good to know, and yeah, there's basically no risk for doing this.
Also, I think the point is that you have to set up or you have to check these options that is for your working and for you what you're doing perfectly.
Yeah, absolutely. If you just have like very small batches and like sister tool management, it would be just like too much. Why using it? That's why we call it an option.
So it is.
Right. Okay, the machine is still cutting, and there is one other interesting thing to know, which is the Datron Live app. And just getting this phone, thank you. What is Datron Live doing? Datron Live has the idea of like giving the options for multiple interfaces to external systems, like a robot, like a system where you have the full utilization of your entire machine park, and so on. What we do have, or what I have in my hand now, what you can see now is an app that has the connection to the machine now. So I'm logged into this machine right now. I have a cockpit that tells me exactly what's going on my machine. So I got information about the remaining time, I got information about like vacuum, compressed air. I can look into my tool data, if like tool life is expiring and so on. And I can pause the program, which you can see down there, this orange button. You can just pause it if there is something that might be like strange in some way. And that is a great function in combination with the camera app. So the camera that we've just been using for setting up the origin is streamed directly to my phone, so I have a top view of what's going on in the machine. So that in combination is great. And the API automation also offers a lot of information and data that comes from the machine to like external programs like a PLC, like a robot system, like whatever. So you can just use different like code lines and implement them into an external kind of workflow. So yeah, that is extremely great to have, as well as the other options. You can get a trial license as well. So extremely handy to have this. We even build a dashboard of all of our machines here in the tech center. So I can, no matter where my computer is, as long as I'm logged into our internal network here through VPN or so, I can directly click onto machines and see what's going on. So that's a good function. I can look into tools. Which tools do I have on my machine system if I'm doing a programming job? Super handy.
Yeah.
All right, our program is still running, but just a few minutes more, We had some questions on beforehand that came in from, I think it was Instagram yesterday, so thank you for this. Retrofitting of the next control to older machine systems. Marius, is there any option that we can have like an older M8 Cube or very old machines? Where is the...
Yeah, that you, if you want to set up the next system on your machine, so your machine have to have a basic, so that means it must be a machine of the edition 2017. If it's not, or if it's older one, so Next cannot be installed on your machine, so it must be this edition. Right,
so yes, it is possible for a certain like series of machine. It depends on when they were built. That's just important to know. Does the software save the rotation angle in its entire like origin and its workpiece offset? Yes, it does. I think this question comes from someone who used to work on the older machines where we just have the X, Y, and Z value. On the next controls, we also do save rotations, scaling, like all the kinds of informations that you have. Super handy. So if you have special fixture in a certain angle, it will always be loaded again. Speaking about new features of the for the future, we have a PDF viewer now in the program management, which is probably not a big thing, but it is great to have it on a machine once it comes to have a setup sheet that we have here. So that was just a part. Yeah, we can see here the setup sheet. So, Mark, you said it before. It is a very cool function for some clamping informations or some tool informations that is important for working with our parts. So it is very easy to open this. It is also in the program management. You find it here and see this with the information of PDF here on this small button, and you have to open this document and can take a look on the informations what you got it before. Right. Like a lot of the development of Next has been focused on automation like over the last month. So there are not a lot of like new big functions that you see directly on the screen, but having connections to other systems, having an interface to external systems was a very big thing for us. And that's where we've kept working on, as well as like the app. But also there is we're currently looking into a vision system, so like a real vision system that the machine will be able to locate a part visually. What I've just done before with measuring with my fingers and like drawing around the part was I was pre-locating, not super perfect, not super precise. The vision system, on the other hand, would do this. So it would like look at a contrast and see like different contrasts, saying, okay, this is my part, this is a fiducial or a datum point, and that's where my origin sits. So that's something that we work on. We're pretty excited for this when this comes out. Yeah, what else? Having the like camera picture directly into your code. And there is also another question for different parking positions. That's something that is not possible. We only have one parking position that we can save in the machine. Still, if you need different like home positions or safe positions in the room, you could do this with like a 0 point that you just store. And then you write a little like a library function. What does library function do? It like calls the 0 point. It goes to like on a safety move to that position and probably reloads the former origin, which is more or less the same functions, and you can unlock the door and just build this in as a library function. So you have one command. So if you say my park position or move to my park position 2, that would be a direct command to whatever you write into this code line. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Anything we haven't talked about? We're gonna make an FAQ for like all the questions afterwards. And once again, we have a chat box here. We're gonna join the chat. We're gonna join the chat afterwards for like 15-20 minutes. So if you still have any questions there, feel free to ask. We'd be happy to meet you there. And yeah, still, if you have any other questions, just send us a text over any social media channels or directly to our email addresses.
Yeah. Before we go to the end, I would say we'll take a look on our.
Oh yeah, right.
On our material.
Right. I forgot that. Thanks, Marius. Working on it and didn't show it. So this is where we are. This is how it looks like. You can see that's bended and perfectly engraved and equally engraved. So, all right. We'll say thank you for watching and joining us for today's Datron Digital Experience live stream. Stay safe. See you next time and goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.